Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Better have, and we're discussing what to do while waiting to get married. And if you read my post last week on the same topic and you were enlightened or inspired by that, then I want to take some questions. Yeah, I just want to take some questions. What to do while you're waiting for marriage, specifically if you are in your mid-30s, late 30s, in your 40s. Maybe you've been married before, maybe you've never been married before. I just want to answer questions, any question you have at all. Thank you for joining me, everyone on Instagram. Yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And from wherever you're joining from, I want to welcome you very specially. What to do while you're waiting? Yes, Pastor Shay, thank you for joining. Shino, yeah, thank you for joining. Yeah. What to do while you're waiting? Q&A session. What to do while you're waiting for marriage? That's what I want to speak to in the time that we have together. If you regularly read my post on the Better Half post, Mr. and Miss Better Half, whether on Instagram or Twitter, then you know the kind of stuff that I discuss. Some of us sent in questions before now. I'm also going to try to answer some of those questions, but I would also love to take some questions right here on this live event. So I will start out with the questions that have been sent before now. Somebody sent me a question. You know, the topic of discussion is what to do while you're waiting. What to do while you're waiting to get married. And you know, you could be in your 20s and you're waiting to get married, especially if you're over 25. And you can also be in your 30s. Even people in their 50s, maybe you've been married before. And that was maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And since then, you've been waiting and trusting God to help and to give you wisdom and to connect you with the right person. So questions on what to do while you're waiting. The first question that has been sent to me while I'm waiting for anyone on this live event to send me questions, I'll say the first question that has been sent to me is, someone said, do you recommend online dating for anyone searching and praying for a wife or husband? And I love to answer the question this way. We live in an age of online. So we go to school online, we pay our bills online, we order food online, and some people now work from home, and that has reduced their ability to meet people, all right? So you don't get on the road like before. And if you're single, looking for somebody to marry, and you don't get on the road like before, you order most of your groceries, home, you don't go to a physical office, you hardly go out for meetings, you gym at home, maybe you even have your own small gym at home. You take a walk once in a while, but who wants to just walk into a stranger to marry? So you meet people online, you market online. People put a call through to you online if you're selling anything. So it's the same thing. It's okay to get somebody to date online. It's just like that online dating is peculiar in the same way that e-commerce is also peculiar. Sometimes you order stuff online and you have to put some things in place to be sure that it's what you order that you will get. Sometimes, especially in my own climate here in Africa, you order some things. Some people say, I'll pay on delivery. So if you want to do online dating, you have to start it out online, but at some point that you have to put a face to it, and you have to be able to meet maybe in a public place where the factor of safety is well taken care of, and you get to know each other gradually, and then this online dating becomes a regular dating, so that the buyer's remorse will not be destructive or a pain. When what you ordered is different from what you receive, then it's a problem. And that's part of the problem of online dating. That factor of being able to know people well enough before you sign a dotted line. Some people get into online dating with somebody that is in a different country, in a different climate. You have background differences, cultural differences, all kinds of differences, even weather differences and all that. the way you think is different. So when you're just dating online, all those factors may not play in or weigh in so strongly. But when you bring the physical element to it, then those factors start to weigh in more strongly. And that's why you need to take online dating is great, but the earlier you can put a face to it and gradually transition it into regular dating before the real commitment, the better. Because the regular dating, physical dating, will give you the opportunity to look into some weightier matters beyond just boy meets girl online. So that's important. Let me go to the second question that I have so that I can take a few more questions from those of us with me online. The second question is, hello PG, okay, good morning. I read the piece that waiting on your spouse, the piece on waiting on your spouse, and was truly blessed. However, I have a couple of questions. One, there are singles like myself that are AS. The mere fact that our genotype is AS has hindered a lot of relationships from going forward. How do we patiently wait for a spouse that is AA? Also, should a couple being AS stop dating just because of compatibility issues? What's your advice to singles who are AS? I look forward to your response. Okay, now you have my response. When it comes to genotype issues, it's always advisable that we are as circumspect as we can be. I've met many people, I've counseled many people who bring up the issue of genotype. If you want to get married and you don't know your genotype, you need to do better. Self-awareness is the highest level of awareness, apart from knowing God and knowing the things of the Spirit. You have to know yourself. Many Christians are very spiritual, which is good to be spiritual, but you are a spirit first, then you live in a natural world and you have a natural body, and it's with this body and mind that you interact with this world. So you need to be aware of yourself. And one of the ways you should be aware of yourself is to know your physiology and your health issues and all that. Before we talk about your emotional issues, whether you are this kind of personality or temperament or the other. But you need to also know issues that have to do with your health and physiology. So knowing that you are AS, AA, AC, SC, SS, whatever genotype it is, and your blood group is very important. Now, those things are there for you to aid your decision making, not to stop you from making decisions, but they help you to make the right decisions. So if I know I'm AS, then I know that marrying somebody that is AS may mean that we'll have a child that may be SS in the future. And I need to be able to ask myself the question, what is the implication of that? And am I able to cope with the implication of having a child that is SS? Have I been in a home with a child that is SS before? Or have I interviewed parents of SS children before? Do I have a friend that is SS? And what's their life like? And and all that. And am I ready to parent a child that is SS? Those are the simple questions that you need to ask yourself. Now, many Christians, people of faith, will believe that God can make things happen for us. Many people have taken a step on that premise, and it's your prerogative. As a pastor, I don't stop people from making their own decisions. But my advice is that you avoid it as much as possible because of the attendant implication. I've pastored people, even in my own immediate family. My parents, my dad happened to be polygamous, and he had many wives, and he married women that are AS, just like he was AS. So I have half siblings that are SS. We lost one of my half siblings earlier in life, who was SS. So I lived with people with sickle cell anemia before, and the kind of issues that come up with it. So for someone like me, it was very simple because I lived in a home where we have 2 or 3 people living with sickle cell anemia. Yeah. And the kind of issues we had to deal with. So when I was about to make a decision to get married, as AS, I looked for somebody, or I carefully prayed and trusted God to bring somebody my way that is AA. So we balance the equation from there. So my advice is this: trust God to bring the right person your way. If you realize that you're falling in love with somebody that is AS when you are AS, or that is AS when you are SS, and there's a likelihood that you have children that will be SS, please sit down and talk about it without too much emotion, in a very, very both emotional and logical manner at the same time. Pray about it. If you feel like God is speaking to you, God has given you all the confirmation that you should go ahead, and your spouse too believes that God has given all the confirmation to go ahead. I'm speaking to people of faith right now. If you're a Christian, or and you know that God speaks to you, and you know that God has spoken to you, and your spouse also confirms that God has spoken, then you have to take a step based on what you have heard from God. But before you take that step, I will also ask you to think about it this way. Visit a couple that has a child that is SS. Look at what they are going through. Ask yourself a question. If by any chance God saying we should go ahead does not mean that we're going to be exonerated from having a child that is SS, but it means that he will give us grace to take care of that child. Then you have to be open to that as well. Some people think that faith only works in a monolithic dimension, which is that it saves us from obstacles. It saves us from problems. Faith does not only work in the way of saving us from problems, it also works in the way of giving us grace when we get into the issues. So if you feel in your heart, God is saying, go ahead, you are AS or SS, and you have somebody that is AS, my own advice for you is that you shouldn't go ahead except God is speaking. But I cannot stop you if you are fully convinced that God is speaking to you, and that's your faith in God, and it's going to work. So it's either the faith will prevent you from having a child that is SS, or it will give you the grace, abundance of grace and divine provision to take care of a child that comes if the child is SS. So you are not going to blame God for it. You're not going to say that God led me, showed me in a vision, sent a man of God to me to say that I should go ahead, but now I have SS, a child that is SS. No, you won't be able to hold God responsible for that. The only thing God will do in that situation is He will give you grace from the day of birth, until you leave this world. You take care of that child. The child will turn out well. The child will grow stronger. I know people. I have a brother who is SS, who today is a professor. Is in his 60s, in his mid 60s. Is still living well and has his own family. So some people survive it. And as medical science becomes better and our work of faith becomes better, it's just like it's very involving. It's very draining. It will try your faith, but if that's what God wants you to do, then nobody should talk you out of it except you're not convinced. But my own, like I said, is that you can, it depends on how you're led. But my advice is that if you can avoid it, please do avoid it. Let me go to the next question quickly, and I'll still take some direct questions from here. If you're just joining me, we are discussing what to do while waiting for marriage. And if you're in your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s, whether you have been married before or not, today we're not talking about why you lost your first marriage or anything. Maybe another time we can talk about that, but for today we're not talking about that. We're just saying that you are waiting to be married, whether you've been married before or not. What do you do while you're waiting to be married? And I wrote a piece last week, which is still available on my Instagram page. You can search for it on the Mr. and Miss Better Half, and also on Twitter as a thread, which you can read. But I'm answering questions out of that discussion. Question 3, how do you cope, especially when you have tried to live right over the years, kept your body, and still have get judged and feared, and walked around like eggshells the moment you tell suitors your age? All right. So the person that wrote this question somebody maybe in our late 30s or so said, you no longer become a prospect regardless of how decent you are. They see you as someone who barely has chances of having children, biological clock in inverted commas. Even by the so-called Christian brothers, you see a 43-year-old man choosing to marry a girl in her early 30s at worst, or even late 20s, over a woman who has all criteria, God-fearing, hardworking, discipline, good values, and all that in her late 30s. It can be so disheartening. Okay, so what this person is saying is this: I'm in my late 30s. I have guys around me who are in their 40s, but they're only interested in marrying ladies in their late 20s or early 30s. What's wrong with them? And why are they walking around me, walking on eggshells around me, or making me feel like something is wrong with me, and all that, when all the things that you should be looking for in a woman, I have it. And the only thing is, by the time I say I'm 37 or 38, then they want to run away. These are real issues that we're discussing today, interestingly, real issues that we're discussing. And I love the kind of questions that you guys have sent earlier now. These are also real questions. How can I cope as a 37, 38, 39-year-old who thinks that a 43, 44, 45-year-old guy should be interested in me, but they're only interested in younger ladies in their early 30s, 31, 32, or 28, 27. And one of the issues, like you said, is biological clock. They feel like maybe I may not be able to have a child again and all that. Let me just say this point blank. Anyone, just like I wrote last week, anyone that is in your late 30s, early 40s as a woman, please don't allow your age stop you from aspiring to get married or to get married again if you have been married before and you desire to be married again. I say that one more time. If you are in your late 30s, early 40s, late 40s, even in your 50s, or even in your 60s as a woman, if your faith tells you that God, according to Psalm 68 and verse number 6, the Bible says God put the solitaries in families. He put the solitaries in families. God is the one that orchestrates our lives and direct our steps in marital relationships. And don't ever stop trusting him if you believe that you're still going to get married. Now, some people get into a point in their 50s or in their late 50s, mid 50s, where if they have never been married before, or they got divorced or separated earlier in life, and they just lost that thing about marriage, and they just feel like they want to move on like that. If you're that kind of person, it's okay to move on. Yeah, it's okay to move on. But if in your heart, you know you will not be able to cope just moving on, you want to release your faith, I'm encouraging you not to lose heart, not to throw in the towel, but to believe that you can actually still get somebody to marry. Now, to the question. One, if you are in your late 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you want to marry again, please don't be overtly choosy. How do I mean? Don't insist that the person cannot be a divorcee or a widower. Because most men in that age would have been married before, or be in one issue or the other, or have a child. There are men who are in their 40s who have never been married before, men in their 50s who have never been married before. I'm just saying that there will be more men in their 50s who have been married before, whose wife is either late or divorced. And if they are good men who are ready to honor you, to respect you, and to do life with you, please don't judge them based on what life has done to them in the past. Yeah. I would also say that don't allow what people say or how people feel about your marital status to stop you from socializing and just being yourself. It's when people know that you are yourself, that you are not intimidated by the fact that you are single at your age, that it doesn't affect you emotionally. You're not going to be an emotional baggage for them to be carrying all over the place, that they are also open to make friends with you. Now, when we talk about the issue of children, if a woman is just getting married in her late 40s or about 40 or late 30s, it's important that you make up your mind about how you want to resolve the issue of children. Some people will just go for adoption straight, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people will still want to try, depending if the person you're getting married to already has like 2 or 3 children, and they say they don't want a child again because they're already in their 50s. As a man, then don't allow the issue of children to destroy that relationship. You can just politely ask, can I just adopt a child? Yeah, so that I can have a child of my own. We need to take things easy at that point. It's important to build a friendship, to value each other first. See, when I value you and I see the kind of contribution you can make into my life and that I can make into your life, there are some things that will not be a deal breaker for me. Many people put the cart before the horse, in the sense that you met a man, you are in your 40s as a woman, early 40s or something, you met a man that is maybe 50 or late 40s, and the first thing you are saying is that I must have my own children. I don't care whether you have had 3 children before, I must have my own children. And the man is saying, look, I don't want to have a child. Why don't you focus on we love each other, we want to build friendship, and all that. Perhaps as we're doing that, maybe before we get married or something, it's hard to be more open to me adopting a child. We already know that pregnancy at older age, like 40s and 50s, will be very problematic. Some men don't just want to go through all that stress. Yeah, and it's okay to just allow them. So there's this, give and take that has to go on if relationships at that point will survive and will be able to pan out. We can't be hardliners, wanting our own way and all that. That's the point I'm trying to make. If we're going to be able to work things out. Now, for what the writer said about men always going for younger ladies, I will agree and disagree slightly. I've met men, I've counseled men. In fact, I still counseled somebody not too long ago who told me, look, PG, I don't want to marry a young lady. I'm in my late 40s, I'm going to be 50. That's what the guy said. If I get a lady that is 38, 37, even 40, he said, even in her 40s, he said, I'm ready to marry her. Yeah. He already had 2 children in his other marriage anyway, but he said, look, I don't want a companion. I don't want a young chick that will now be slowing me down and all that. I don't want generational difference. And that's what happens when a 45-year-old man marries a 27-year-old lady. There will be a generational difference, and it creates serious issues in marriage. They can't build friendship at certain level, and the lady would think all of his friends are old men. So it may be difficult for her to relate with his friends. And the guy also would think that the friends of this lady are small girls. So they can't talk to me anyhow. They can't call me by our first name. All our friends will be calling you Uncle John. And that's a problem. You want the friends of your spouse to be able to relate with you as their friend as well. In some cases, it works. It's just that sometimes it rocks the boat and creates all kinds of problems. So I will say that it's the give and take on both sides that will make such a relationship work better. All right. So I see some comments here and there. Let me see if I can take some of these comments. Fumi said, don't put the cart before the horse. Okay. Value yourself first, build a friendship first. Yeah, thank you, Fumi. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. I'll take one more question from the ones that have been sent in earlier. Like I said, I see there too that you first said, okay, I said there's nothing wrong with adoption. And she reverberated that to say that, look, it's true. There's nothing wrong with adoption. So I'll take my 4th question and the last question, the question that had been sent earlier. For those of us on the platform, I wouldn't mind if you just type out your question and anyone on on Instagram who has a question, please type it out, put it on the comments, and I'm going to read it out, and then yeah, we'll take it. But before that, let me read my last question here. It says, most people today always talk about not giving wife duties to a boyfriend. What are these wife duties? And does that mean if one is dating, the lady shouldn't care for her boyfriend? How do young singles who have once been sexually active maintain celibacy and fight off sexual desires? Okay, all right. So if you're just joining me, we're discussing what to do while you're waiting, and I'm answering questions today on the backdrop of a post that I made last Friday on the Better Half discussion on Instagram and Twitter, so on Facebook as well, so you can read it up. But that's what we're doing, and I still have maybe another 15 minutes to be able to answer more questions. But the question that I'm answering right now is 2 in 1. Most people today talk about wife duties, not giving wife duties to a boyfriend. What are these wife duties? And does it mean that two people who are in a dating relationship or boyfriend, girlfriend, or courtship relationship should not care, the girl should not care for the boyfriend? And then the second question is, how do young singles who have often been sexually active maintain celibacy and fight off sexual desires? Let me take the first one. The first one is wife duties. In a relationship, you talk about Denike, please, Denike Robinson, if you can resend the question, I'll be able to pick it. He said you sent a question, please resend it on the chat here on Instagram, and I'll pick it up. All right. Sorry about that. I missed it the other time. All right. So most people today always talk about not giving wife duties. What are wife duties? The ultimate wife duty is sex, because you're supposed to be able to sleep with the person that you are that you're married to. That's what we call it wife duty. Wife duty, there are other wife duties like cook for your spouse. Also, another wife duty is be the homemaker, take care of the home, clean the home. Some people even go as far as doing laundry for somebody you are dating, cleaning their home, or go there and make all kinds of soup and all that, make the meal that they like, or even go and spend the weekend. Those are the things that they call wife duties. And when you are in a dating relationship and you are all out to do all these things, if I said cooking is wife duty, yes, I agree with you. Yeah, cooking is wife duty. In fact, if you know other wife duties that I didn't mention, if you're on Instagram Live with me, please can you put it on? Bring it on. I want to see wife duties that that I may be oblivious of. I'm a man almost 50 now, so sometimes some of these things we're not in town again to be able to understand that. All right, so wife duties, but like I was saying, when we talk about wife duties, somebody said, what if you find yourself in a situation where a man is separated and has kids but does not want to marry, but just want companionship? What do you do if you find yourself in that kind of situation? You need to ask yourself the question too. You too, do you just want companionship or you want to be married? Because the two of you have to agree on what you are doing. Pardon me, this is just an aside. I just wanted to take that question on Instagram. Somebody has been married before, has kids, doesn't want the trouble of marriage, just wants companionship. Does that suit you? Is it companionship you want, or you want to be married? Yeah. And what is companionship? Is it that you have a prenuptial agreement, or what? Or is somebody to just be, friends with benefit? Somebody to just sleep with? What do you want? So if you are putting this question to me, I put it back to you. What do you want? It depends on what you want, what suits you. You can't just be a companion to somebody who doesn't want to marry. The person is married, has been married before, has kids. Maybe you still want to have kids. You want to be happily married. You want to have a family. You can't have a family with somebody who is just cruising along, who just wants companionship. Yeah. So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. The man should remain single, and just have friends that can just be companions, and the friend can be, can be office colleague, family members, old friends that are married also, but who may not mind spending time with him, but there's nothing romantic. So if you want a romantic experience, then prepare to get married. Don't lead anybody on. So that's what you should tell the man. All right. But back to wife duties. Yes, wife duties quickly. Wife duties. Going to wash plates in their family house. Wow. That's a serious one. Wife duties. I'm still looking for wife duties. Praying and encouraging and encouragement are wife duties. Okay. Cleaning service. Cleaning service is wife duty. All right. This is getting really interesting. Yeah. Okay. Somebody says going all out to shoulder his family responsibilities, carrying his family issues on your head. That is full wife duty. Interesting. All right. So on the issue of wife duty, let me pause here to say this, that don't do wife duty when you are not a wife. We have enumerated some wife duties, and some of us on Instagram have also pointed some wife duties out, today. There's no point. Do girlfriend duties, not wife duties. When you become a wife, then you can do full wife duty. Yeah. Is it bad to help? No, it's not bad to help. Is it bad to chip in sometimes and just help somebody, care for them, anticipate their need and meet it? Yes, but you don't do that all the time. If not, you are over projecting yourself, and you're making it look like, I don't know how to put it, but what sometimes you may be adjudged to be desperate. Yeah. If you go to do every weekend you're cooking. This weekend is this dish, another weekend is this dish, and when you show up, they know food has come, house will be clean, you do all the duties. It may look like you're being too desperate. So you need to slow down and do something else. Focus on building friendship. Focus on mutuality in the help. Don't let it come from only one side. And then the other question is, how do young singles who have been sexually active maintain celibacy and fight off sexual desires? If you have been sexually active and you are now, waiting to be married, or you're in a dating relationship, I would just say very simply, you need to know yourself. You need to know your proclivities. You need to know your limits, and you need to set boundaries and make yourself accountable. There's nobody that does not get tempted. Maturity is ability to delay gratification. You need to make up your mind. What kind of relationship do I want to have? Is it a celibate one until we get married? Or is it a relationship where if we get into it, this is nothing Christian about this relationship. We just want to enjoy ourselves, and whatever comes out of it, if we all break into pieces and break our hearts, it's okay. Yeah. If that's what you want, I would say don't want that, but if that's what you want, that's what you get. So I'm saying you need to deliberately put some boundaries in place, have people who hold you accountable. Don't do anything that will put you in a compromising position where your flesh and your desires will overpower you. Yeah. And if you see that you are going beyond your boundary, it's better. One of the proof that you are mature is that you face it and discuss it, and ask yourselves the question: if you're in a dating relationship, is this what we want? If, for instance, you just realize that you slept together and you didn't want to be doing that, then sit down and discuss it. Do we want to be sleeping together in this relationship? Yeah. If the answer is no, then find somebody that will hold you accountable, and then set the boundaries in place. Put the guardrails. The only reason why people drive on the bridge and they don't end up in the lagoon is because there are guardrails on both sides of the bridge. And then they drive carefully when they are on that bridge. So when you are in that transition period between singlehood and marriage, and you get into a relationship, or you are waiting for somebody to be married, you need to drive as if you're on the bridge. You maintain the guardrails on both sides, and then you drive carefully, knowing that this is narrower than the other kind of road. And even on the usual road, you have other things on the different side of the road people's houses and all that. You don't want to drive into them. And it's when you tell yourself, I want to maintain decorum. That's when you enjoy grace, even from God, if you're a Christian, to be able to be celibate. But if you throw everything open, your flesh will overpower you. I don't care how long you speak in tongues or how many days you spend reading the Bible. If you don't set the boundaries in place to tell yourself, let me tell myself the home truth. I know my proclivities. I know if I go to spend the weekend, something will happen. I know I cannot do staycation or vacation. You know, all those vacation, let's go to this place together. We'll go to New York together, go to Paris together, we'll travel together. We'll stay in the same room in the hotel, or we'll stay in different room. What kind of, I can't do that, for instance. I'm just being sincere with you. I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, I know myself, and you should know yourself as well. Yeah, so it's better that you put the guardrails in place, and then I believe that God will help you to maintain your oath of celibacy. Somebody says, please, Pastor, what if while dating, I found out my boyfriend has erectile dysfunction? Will I be a bad person if I call it quit? You won't be exactly a bad person. I will just say that why not confront it and ask him to seek medical help and also prayers, and see if the situation will change. The only thing is that you shouldn't gamble into marriage. If the erectile dysfunction is really bad and there's no remedy, then if you opt out, it's a choice that you have made, and I don't think God will hold you responsible for that. You don't want to put yourself in a marriage that will lead you into trouble. Yeah. It's just like any other disease, any other thing that can hinder people from doing their duties and fulfilling their obligations in life. It's just like if you can't marry somebody that is jobless, that means the person does not have money to spend. In this case, this person cannot perform in bed. There's the financial need that you will have. There's sexual needs that you also have in marriage. This person will not be able to meet those needs. So you need to be extremely logical about it. Don't over spiritualize or emotionalize it. This is a problem that can be solved medically. Is this person ready to solve this problem medically? Or trust God in prayer and all that and be healed, because something that can be healed. And if we're dating for how long, maybe 2 years, and we're willing to seek God and seek medical help for the healing, and it gets better. I know it's something that you may say, how do we prove it that it's better? The doctors can tell you. You don't have to try it, because somebody say, except he tries it on me, I won't know whether the erectile dysfunction has been healed or not. The doctors can handle that for you and tell you that this is okay. And then you can then go ahead with the marriage. But if you marry the person like that, you're taking a gamble, whatever you get out of it, please don't blame anybody for it. Just hold it as this is my decision and I'm staying with my decision. Yeah. It's the same thing with somebody who cannot provide money for you. It means the person will not be able to meet your financial needs in marriage. This one will not be able to meet your sexual needs in marriage. If you go ahead with it, that means you feel that you're okay with it. All right. Our time is moving very fast. I just have a few more minutes. There's a question also here. Somebody said, I'm a single mom of 3. I'm 37 this year. To be honest, I want someone who has his own children already. But the irony is that it's single guys that are asking me out the most, and it's very overwhelming. Yeah, very overwhelming. Well, I can relate with that based on some people that I've spoken to in counseling. I would say to you, I'll say to you that please don't be overwhelmed by that. Anyone that is ready to marry you with your children is a person that loves you indeed. Whether the person has children before or the person doesn't have a child or has never had a child before. Anybody who can take you the way you are is a person that loves you. Whether the person is single or married, please don't be overwhelmed. Just let them know. Front load it. This is who I am. I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids. Do you love me enough? And will you love my kids with me? If the answer is yes, please cultivate that relationship and let it end in marriage. No stories. Yeah. Cultivate the relationship, let it end in marriage if the answer is yes. I am a mother of 3. are you ready to love me? You know, and all that. And while we're in a courtship relationship, demonstrate that love to me and to my children. Yeah. And be aware of the reality of my life as a mother of three. Yeah. If you see, if it's infatuation or lust, it will clear in their eyes. The moment you front load all that and let them see, you know, you can't hide your children and you can't hide who you are. So if it's infatuation, it will clear in the person's eye. If it's real love, it will be sustained. The person will love you for who you are, love your kids, be interested in their life, be interested in your own life and your well-being, and then you're able to work a great relationship. So don't be overwhelmed by that. Some young people or married people may just like what they see, but they need to like who you are. And who you are is not bad at all. It's not bad at all. You're a fruitful woman, you're a blessed woman, and that's who you are. Yeah. Let me take one or two more questions. Someone said, Pastor, what if while dating I found out, okay, I've answered that, erectile dysfunction. All right, so let me see, is there any other one? So what it says, drain, your work by duty, and the family events is wife duty. Okay, like when you go for family parties and you are trying to do everything and yet you are not yet married to the person. Paying school fees of siblings. Some people are still on this on this wife duties thing. All right. Let me see if oh, I think I mistakenly deleted somebody. I'm sorry about that. Okay. I'm in a relationship with a lady. Lex says I'm in a relationship with a lady and planning to marry. I am committed to her, support her financially, but she has refused to introduce me to any member of her family, nor even a friend. Wow. Lex, that is red flag, a big red flag. Yeah, you need to slow down. I appreciate the fact that you are open and you said you are, you know, in a relationship with this lady, you are responsible to her financially and all that, but she's never introduced you to anybody around her, family, friends, or anybody. Please, you need to slow down. You need to slow down. It's most likely that there's a big issue, an elephant in the room that the lady is not ready to talk about yet. And she knows that if you meet somebody that's close to her, that elephant in the room may be unveiled. So you need to slow down and really take it as a big deal with her. I need to meet someone around you now that we're talking marriage. I need to meet your folks. I need to meet your friends. I need to meet your family members. You didn't drop from heaven. I don't want to marry an angel. I want to marry a human being. So you need to show me something. Show me a proof that you are not a spirit, that you're a human being. Because every human being is born by somebody, has siblings, has friends, has family, cousins, and all that. And I want to be able to meet somebody that knows you so I can validate who you are a little better. So slow down in all your financial commitment and all that. Limit your investment just in case this is not what you really want. Because you may get a revelation that may be beyond what you're expecting. But God will give you grace, whatever comes out of it. But you need to slow down. That's a big red flag that you need to manage right there, right there. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so another one. Should tell your intentions and go ahead and propose. She has reasons because she has introduced someone before and it didn't end well. Okay, Lex that's still saying that somebody said she has introduced someone before and it didn't end well. Well, I'm struggling to understand that, so I'll just move to another question. A lot of people have ideas for Lex. Okay, Lex, you have a lot of married counselors on this platform who are trying to advise you. Please take it with a pinch of salt, but read it anyhow. Setting boundaries is needed. Thanks, PG. Thanks, Pascoride. All right. Let me see if I have any other questions before we call it a day. Somebody said to Lex, I've experienced that before. So that's right, I've experienced that before, and I've vowed I'm not taking anyone close home until he's ready. It's either that or she's not ready to be committed. Yeah, so somebody else is also making a comment on that the lady that Lex spoke about, who's refusing to introduce him to anybody, is it that she's taking somebody home before and it didn't turn out well, maybe the person was not even ready, or she's just afraid of commitment, which is very true. But there's a big elephant in the room. Lex, you need to speak to that. You need to know what it is. And then, yeah, we can take it from there. All right, can give me feedback the next time I'm on live and let me know how that is going. Somebody say, okay, I have a question. Pastor, I have a question. What should a woman in her 30s do after having two for someone who is not married to her, and now they are no longer together? Can the person marry somebody else? Of course, yes, the person can marry somebody else. You said they were never married, and this woman had 2 children out of wedlock, and the guy had moved on. So it's a simple situation. The lady with her 2 children, just like my precious lady that sent a question saying that she has 3 kids. Yeah. So this lady with her own 2 kids should move ahead and get married if she has somebody else that's interested in her. She was not even married before. She just had 2 kids out of wedlock. Having 2 kids out of wedlock does not debar you from getting married. There are many people out there who will love you the way you are and who will want to marry you. So please just go ahead. So somebody says, so Sheon said, so how can young ladies cope with saying no to premarital sex, since most guys want sex in a relationship? Also, how do one navigate liking a guy so much, but he wants premarital sex? The issue of premarital sex is everywhere. So it's not peculiar to any clime. Most guys, and please don't make it like it's only a guy thing. There are ladies also that want premarital sex. It's just that the number of guys that want premarital sex definitely far outweighs the number of ladies who will want premarital sex in a relationship. It depends on your predisposition to the issue of sex. There are many ladies who feel there's nothing wrong with sex outside of marriage, and they want it. They will pressure the guy to even give it. I've counseled guys before who were pressured by their girlfriend to have sex. So it's vice versa. It's just like way more on one side. I just try to balance it because of my representing my guys here. By the way, guys, even Christians demand for sex. Yeah, I counsel them all the time. It's not a new thing. But all I'm saying is, look, my lady, it's still your choice. If you are not ready for sex outside of wedlock, and the guy is pressuring you for it, and the guy is insisting that that's the only way the relationship should work, then let the guy know that that's not the kind of relationship you want. Can I say this to you? Sometimes what you think what you want is not what you need. You see the tall, dark, and handsome, and you really like the guy, you are really into the guy, you feel that this guy, makes you laugh, the guy is cool, very romantic and all that, but he says without sex, this relationship will not work. You need to make up your mind. If you don't want to have sex, it means that that's not your guy. Simple. It means that's not your guy. And you need to face it squarely and just tell yourself, I'll take a walk. I'd rather take a walk. Because what you compromise to get, you cannot keep. Can I say that one more time? What you compromise to get, you may not be able to keep. What you compromise to get, you may not be able to keep. When you defile your conscience to get something, it's already a signal that you are postponing the evil day in front, because you have to defile your conscience severally about other matters, and they may be weightier than sex. Yeah, they may be weightier than sex. Somebody who compels you against your conscience to have sex before marriage may one day compel you to abort a child against your conscience. I am a counselor of over 20 years now, and I've counseled people whose spouses tell them, I'm not ready for a child now, you get pregnant when I abort it. Or we have 2, why do you get pregnant for 3? I don't want more than 2, so go and abort it. Yeah. And, those guys say it without any, but if you have compromised with them on other matters before, then that's the way it will continue to happen. You have to keep compromising on other things. Yeah. So if you compromise with a guy against your conscience, you will do it a lot in marriage. If you're not ready for it, don't do it now. Let me give you another example. There's this thing about arranged marriage that happens a lot, especially with Africans that travel abroad and need a second passport. So they may have their wife in Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya or whatever part of Africa, and they move to the US especially. And then, they want to, and their wives here will agree and compromise with them to do arranged marriage. I heard a story recently where the wife compromised to do arranged marriage with this man who is in the US. And eventually, the American lady that the guy got married by, this kind of arrangement with, one day said, look, we don't live together and all that, but the government requires that we should at least be together and all. It's my right because we're married now for this period. I need you to make love to me. Yeah. The man, a Christian man, called his wife back in Africa and said, this is what this this American lady is saying, what will happen? The woman said, we are Christians. You can't do that. You can't do that, the way, especially if the woman is a Yoruba person like me. You cannot do that. You cannot do that because of God, all that. The man was like, but we're going to lose this thing. Both of us have agreed that we need this paper. To cut a long story short, the man did it. And from the information that I have, that was the end of the marriage because the man did it. And whatever happened, he lost his brain or whatever. I don't know what happened. And from that point, so what you compromise to get, you may struggle to keep. So if the woman did not compromise in the first instance by agreeing that the husband should go and marry somebody else and pretend in America like the man had divorced her, then she will never get into a situation where the man will call one day and say, the person that I married here is demanding for sex, and is within a marital right to get sex from me. So what you compromise to get, you may never be able to keep. That I think a word like they say is enough for the wise. Yeah. I think on that note, I will start to wrap up today's discussion. I hope you have been able to get a lot out of this. I'm just seeing, and many people on Instagram, you're now chatting. This is also, this platform is also good to meet people. So if you meet somebody, somebody who is, commenting very well and seem to be alive, they know what they're saying, what they're doing, you can DM them later. You have my permission. Just DM them, just check on them, just tell them, PG say I should check how you are doing. It's not more than that. Yeah. This is, I hope you're not going to run away from my platform just because of what I said. It's just a good place to also meet people. Why I'm saying that is that people who come on this kind of platform and comment and learn are people who want to do the right thing. So if you meet somebody on my platform, there's a likelihood that the person may just be a good person, but you still have to check it out. Don't forget, you still have to check it out, check everything out, and confirm. Don't say PG said so. No. So let me take this last question today. Last question from Imonas. He says, what happened? Say, PG, what happened to the Christian dating site initiative Elevation Church launch? Okay, I'm married, so asking for a friend. All right, okay. Well, it wasn't Elevation Church that launched the initiative. It was myself and a few friends. And the project was temporarily suspended because we had a lot of issues with the back end and a bit of infiltration, and we became quite busy and we couldn't manage it as much. And at that time, we didn't have enough developers in Nigeria who could, so at that time, we didn't have enough developers in Nigeria who could help with it, but it's something that we're willing to revisit in the future. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. So on that note, I would like to wrap this up. And thank you all for joining me on this live event today. I hope to be able to come your way again, maybe next week, maybe upper week. Maybe next week I'll write something else, and then upper week we'll discuss. Or if something comes up, or if you have questions for me, just send it to burningquestions@elevationng.org, burningquestions@elevationng.org, and then we can take it from there. Don't forget, what you compromise to get, you may not be able to keep. What you compromise to get, you may not be able to keep. You may not be able to keep. So don't compromise to get anything. Let things come to you after, the order of what God has in mind for you and what you have worked for and what you merit. And the favor of God will order your steps, and you will have a great relationship and a great marriage in Jesus' name. God bless you, everyone, for coming out to be a part of this event. I look forward to hanging out with you. If you're yet to read that post, so please go and read it on what to do while you're waiting. It's still on my Instagram page. You can read it. It's a post that I made last week, Friday. It's an interesting read, and I know it's going to be a blessing to you. So thank you again, everyone, for coming out to hang out with me this evening. I'll see you again. I'll let you know the next time I'm coming out live on the issues of relationship. So whether you're married or single, please join me and let's have a great discussion. And if you have something serious that you want us to discuss, or big question, burning questions at elevationgng.org, burning questions at elevationgng.org, please send it there, and I will come back to discuss those questions. This year, I'm going to be delving into real life issues more, and things that people don't talk about usually are the things that I really want to be able to discuss. So I look forward to having you the next time I'm on. God bless you, and have a great evening, and enjoy your weekend. Have a blast this weekend. God bless you. God bless you, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye for now.